may be seated. Good morning. As we begin this Charter Day ceremony, I invite you to join me in a moment of prayerful reflection. In times when the landscape around us is shifting, we pause to remember the vision for creating an opportunity for higher education in this corner of Virginia. We remember all who dreamed and worked and taught and provided hospitality and modeled leadership. For all of these, we are grateful. We have inherited a legacy of service, curious minds, and engaged hearts. Today, we honor and give thanks for those in our university family and the surrounding communities who embody that inheritance. May this time of celebration of the granting of the Charter of Emory and Henry renew our affection for this place and ground us in values that will shape our future. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Sharon Wright. Welcome to Charter Day at Emory and Henry University. This is actually the first Charter Day for us as our status of university. I welcome you today to celebrate the founding of Emory and Henry and those who were instrumental in establishing Southwest Virginia's first and oldest institution of higher education. In 1836, Emory and Henry College was founded with the encouragement of the Holston Conference of the Methodist Church and through the generosity of a Methodist clergyman, 2 Methodist laymen, and a Presbyterian philanthropist. The college, as you know, was named for John Emory, an eminent 19th century Methodist bishop, and the same person for whom Emory University in Atlanta is named. It's also named for Patrick Henry, patriot of the American Revolution, and first post-colonial governor of Virginia, whose sister Elizabeth Henry Campbell Russell lived here near Saltville and was a prominent Methodist lay leader. By the time Emory and Henry's charter was officially granted on March 25, 1839, the administration building here on campus had been constructed, classes had commenced, and the early chapters of our history began. And of course, as I mentioned, we made a new milestone in the history of the institution when this past August we transitioned to university status. But I would remind all of you that that change in university status does not change who we are. It just reflects what we have become in terms of a more complex institution, one that offers doctoral programs, more master's programs, multiple campuses, and broadening our population of students in terms of adult, graduate, online, and others. But that doesn't change who we are in terms of our history and where we're going, because our core values and the main tenet of our mission remains the same. This formal observance of Charter Day is a day that we come together to pause and reflect on the history, mission, and core values of this special place. It's also a special day because it honors and brings together our faculty, our staff, our students, and our alumni to all come together and think about where we have come as an institution, and again, where we are going as an institution. I would say it's also a milestone event for our students, particularly our senior students in the audience, because today marks the first of several milestone ceremonies for you as you begin to make your way towards that transition from your status as a student to your status as an alumna. And so we want to encourage you to enjoy and recognize this journey over the next month and a half And I want you to also recognize, as our alumni are recognized for awards, that connection that we would want you to have with the institution, that not when you leave us as a student do you leave us, but you stay connected with us as an alum. This day is also a day that we recognize and are inspired by outstanding accomplishments of others. The university uses this ceremony as an opportunity to present Charter Day citations to select groups of individuals or organizations that make significant contributions to our region. A number of our past winners are here with us this morning. Thank you for contributing, and thank you for continuing your good work that you do on behalf of your community and our region. The Alumni Association will also recognize several alumni and a faculty member with awards also recognizing their service to others. And I also want to take this time to recognize a few special guests we have in the audience, with Charter Day occurring at the same time that we begin our Board of Trustees meetings. We do have several trustees with us that have made a point to travel in early and join in on this celebration. And so hopefully in recognizing those I see, I don't miss those that maybe I didn't see. And so I'll apologize up front if I do miss anyone. But I do know that Ann Sluter, our board chair, class of 81, is here with us. Robbie Thomas Garcia, class of 2001, trustee. Karen Todd, class of 84. Jonathan Cooper, class of 89. And Israel O'Quinn, class of 2002. Hopefully I didn't miss any. And Lina, which I have on my piece of paper, Lina, sorry. And Lina Drinkert, class of 77. And so for the students here to recognize that service continues, because all of these trustees that are here were students here, they're alumni, and they're still serving their institution. So thank you for all of you that are here participating in today's ceremony. And certainly want to recognize and always thank our faculty for what they do in preparing our students for the life after Emory and Henry. So as we celebrate the 188th anniversary of our founding, I think those who conceived of Emory and Henry would be pleased that, as Professor Kermit Hunter once said, we continue sending out tides of influence that touch the whole hungry soul of humankind. So again, I welcome you to Southwest Virginia's first and indeed its premier institution of higher education that is once again helping to transform our region and prepare its workforce. To begin our program, we will hear an anthem from our concert choir under the direction of Dr. Shay Clay. Also appreciate Dr. Matt Frederick and our brass quintet, along with our chapel organist, Tim Hagee, for our music today. So now let the celebration continue.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have such a wonderfully talented choir, and it's always good to hear for each performance, so thank you. And thank you, Dr. Clay. So it's now my pleasure to welcome our keynote speaker, Chuck Alexander. Chuck is an E&H class of 1989 and our Fred Self-Service Award winner last year. He's the principal and managing director of the U.S. Division of Burness, a global team of communications experts supporting nonprofit organizations. He previously worked for the National Public Radio, managing national outreach campaigns and promoting NPR programs. A native of East Tennessee, he was a political science major at Emory Henry and earned his master's degree in public communications from American University. He has continued to serve Emory Henry in countless ways, providing assistance to recruiting efforts, serving as a mentor for career services, providing networking and career opportunities for recent graduates, and hosting events for alumni in his community. Did the mic just go out? In his community of Georgetown. Can you all hear? Can you hear now? I'm seeing shakes of no. There it goes. I just have to stand in the right place. So in 2017, he established a student scholarship at Emory Henry, honoring the memory of his mother, Carolyn. And I'm so very glad to welcome Mr. Chuck Alexander to Emory Henry today to deliver our Charter Day address.
Let's see if I'm in the right spot. Are we good in the back there? Well, thank you, President Fincher, and good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. There we go. I am grateful to all of you for being here, faculty, staff, trustees, and fellow alumni, and for those who are joining or will view this online, and especially grateful to students. I hope you all are here to honor E&H and not just get Lyceum credit. But if that's your drive, that's fine too. I've been there. And congratulations to Distinguished Alumni Award recipients. I'm excited for our audience to hear more about these incredible people. We've had a good time getting to know each other better this morning. A special thank you to Monica Hull. Monica, where are you? Somewhere? There we go. Monica, I can't think of another person who so perfectly embodies this institution. For decades, you've kept so many of us connected to each other and Emory and Henry and these hills and mountains and hollers. Most importantly, you are an amazing friend. This campus and the cities and towns and villages that hold all its alumni will be forever indebted to you for what you've given us. We love you, Monica. About Monica and today's keynote. I was so surprised that I'd been invited to give this speech that when I received the invite email, I forwarded it to Monica and asked, "Is this for real?" Her reply was, "Yes, it is for real, you dork." Typical Monica. It is hard to explain how proud I am to stand up here today. And it's not lost on me that the last time I stood at this lectern was on January 18th, 1988, when I spoke at a service celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. that evening. I implored those gathered to ensure equal opportunity to all people and to work together. E&H Sports Hall of Famer and 1988 graduate Stan Eggleston spoke that day too, and he encouraged folks to accept people for who they are. And no, I didn't recall all of those details on my own. Ask me about the online archive of white topper issues that I found while researching this keynote. It's scary and fascinating at the same time. I never imagined I'd be up here 37 years later. I am so grateful to Emory and Henry for this and so many other opportunities that have come my way. This place, with all its beauty, honesty, challenges, and solutions, gave so many of us the intellectual and spiritual foundation we needed to grow and flourish. And the architects of these foundations, frankly, were the incredible people we learned from while here. I know that when Stan and I stood up here all those years ago, we'd been inspired to do so by our Emory and Henry professors. In an age where information comes at us in small bites on multiple platforms and in the form of artificial intelligence, we must not forget the value of teaching and its potential to change our lives and the world. Like so many other students who have arrived at Emory's gates, I came from a lower income background. My first visit to campus was in the winter of 1985, not long before my high school graduation. There was snow everywhere, seemed like maybe a foot of it. And it looked like a movie set. And I thought I'd crossed into some other world, a world too rarefied for a kid who carried some baggage about not being worthy of a place like this. The first two people I talked to at length that day were teachers, political scientist Jim Foster and Coach Fred Self. In separate conversations, neither of which lasted more than, say, 30 minutes, they both challenged my thinking. They told me that I could make it at Emory and Henry if I did the work it would take to succeed, if I put learning and academics first and stayed open to possibilities. If I wasn't willing to do those things, they said, don't waste your time. Find somewhere else to spend the next 4 years of your life. I'd received my first lesson from Emory and Henry faculty. I sped home from Emory later that day in our family's 1977 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme and told my mom and brother that I'd found the place for me. In the matter of a few hours, I'd been challenged to broaden my horizons and look beyond status quo expectations I'd set for myself. How cool was that? As an aside, Jim Foster left E&H long after that, but I played for Coach Self for the next 3 years, and his direct yet caring approach was one of the many things that made him so special. As is sometimes the case with teenagers, I'd heard Foster and Self's advice, but I didn't necessarily take it to heart. My first year and a third, anybody remember trimesters at Emory and Henry? My first year and a third here was academically challenging, let's say. And there came a time when Al Mitchell, an Emory and Henry administrator, dean, teacher, and icon, very kindly but firmly told me that I needed to get my act together. Here was the spirit of Emory and Henry showing up again, a caring spirit, a generous spirit, a teaching spirit, even a tough love spirit. That winter, I took my first class with Professor Steve Fisher, and well, the rest is history. Steve's Appalachian Studies course transformed me, opening my eyes to an Appalachia I was proud to be a part of. An Appalachia where people fought back against economic and cultural degradation and looked out for one another. These are fundamental elements of Appalachia, but they're also fundamentally elements of EHU. Steve changed the way so many of us see the world. He forced us to change our assumptions about how things work, to look deeply at the nature of power, who has it, how it is held, and how it is gained. And he asked all his students to learn, to accept the immense challenges of opening up to other people's viewpoints, while also forming and staying true to ours. Steve's teaching was revelatory, and he gave me an intellectual confidence I'd never known. As Susan Mathis Johnson, last year's Carl and Ruth Looney Humanitarian Award winner, noted in a recent interview, Steve inspired all of us with his mantra: imagine the world you want, then create it. I'm still close to Steve, and in his honor, we've established the Stephen L. Fisher Undergraduate Research Fellowship Fund. The fund will support undergraduates conducting research in the history, natural environment, cultures, and political economy of Appalachia. I hope you all will consider contributing to it. Shameless plug. And if you are a student interested in this sort of research, especially a first or second year student, please keep this fund in mind, as Lisa Withers, Dean of the School of Arts and Sciences, will help vet fund recipients when we're ready to go with it. The confidence and awareness I gained in that first Fisher class ignited an eagerness to learn from other great Emory professors and staff, and even worked retroactively to bring me a greater appreciation for those who've been my Emory influencers since I arrived. The roll call of other Emory professors and staff who changed my life is long, as you might imagine. Some of them are here today, and some of them are sadly gone. I hope all of you will create your own list and tell all those on it how grateful you are for them. For me, thanks goes to Steve Fisher, Teresa Keller, John Lang, Fred Self, Felicia Mitchell, Eugene Razor, George Chavatel, Rick O'Neill, Royce Morris, Paul Eisenhower, Bob Johnson, John Morgan, Alan Pickrell, Louis Purifoy, Al Mitchell, Henry Dawson, Mary Margaret Justice, Charlie Sidner, and Patsy and Richard Trollinger, among others. I'm happy to report that the tradition of impactful teaching is alive and well at Emory and Henry. Last year, I had an opportunity to sit in on a class led by Leah Wilson, Director of the Bonner Scholarship Program and Associate Director of the Appalachian Center for Civic Life here at EHU. Leah's students were thoughtful and funny and sincere. In my conversations with them, they were completely open about the challenges they faced, their dreams for the future, and their reflections on the state of the world. And they were grateful for the safe space Leah had created for them to be all those things. I was instantly transported back to my days with Fisher and Keller and Lang. There are others carrying that mantle forward here too. Ed Davis, Wendy Traynor, Matt Kelly, Celeste Gaia, Tal Stanley, Brett Fry, Brent Treesh, Oleski Navarro, and Kelly Bremner, to name a few. This place is full of professors who put their students first and are eager to shape a generation of critical thinkers and committed servants to others. It is quite something to see. I hope you'll join me in a round of applause for Emory's professors and staff, past and present, joining us here today. My greatest teacher and mentor since my Emory days is Andy Burness. Nearly 40 years ago, he started a communications firm that partners with nonprofits in the United States and around the world to inspire and drive social change, confront poverty, promote health, elevate science, and protect our planet. Andy is a brilliant communicator and teacher and a person who cares deeply about justice and fairness. In my 25 years working with him at Burness, I've learned that we won't solve the world's biggest problems if we don't clearly describe the problems we face, communicate about compelling solutions to those problems, and challenge people to act. At Burness, we have 5 guiding principles. We seek a better world, embracing social change to improve lives in our community, in our nation, and around the world. We elevate inclusivity, actively encouraging and listening to all voices. Through our work, we seek to elevate people who are too often overlooked. We value empathy and respect in our relationships with each other and the folks with whom we work. We celebrate collaboration and teamwork, recognizing that each person's success hinges upon another's and makes us collectively stronger. And we insist on results and seek impact. These principles sound familiar to you? They sound a lot like Emory Henry to me. And I'm struck by how those principles and values match up so strongly with the values and principles I was taught on this campus and in this community. Whether in the work I'm doing now to elevate digital opportunities for people in Western North Carolina, or work I've done to encourage post-secondary education for young women in East Tennessee, or the work I've done to prevent tobacco use nationwide, I've put to practice these common principles, imagining the world I want and seeking to create it. All those years ago, teachers here at Emory gave language to the experiences I had growing up in Appalachia, gave me a values base to work from, and shaped the ways I would show up to work and help other people. With all that in mind, I want to ensure that teachers and professors get the credit, resources, and rewards that they deserve. These are very challenging times with threats to educational institutions at every level. Respect for learning, free speech, and the value of teachers is being purposefully eroded. We all must stand up in defense of these principles. Professors like those at Emory Henry have and continue to stand up for those principles every day, and we must too. As I close out my talk today, I encourage you to do these things. First, speak out against cuts to education and learning. Write your members of Congress, show up at town hall meetings, have conversations about it with your neighbors and friends. Second, thank your professors, old and new. Stay in touch with them. Let them know that they changed your life. Third, support teaching and teachers by giving to this institution and sharing your own good memories of Emory with prospective students so that we can always have new students here for our great professors to teach. This region that we hold so dear in our hearts needs Emory and Henry, and it needs the knowledge and power of this institution's teachers. Last, become a teacher yourself by passing along your knowledge and energy to others, whether that's in a classroom or coaching on a ball field or through volunteering in your community. Think of these actions as ways to return to Emory and Henry professors and staff all they have given us. I am eternally grateful to this place, and thank you again for the honor of giving this keynote.
Thank you, Chuck. Am I standing in the right place? Hopefully you can hear me. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to honor the extraordinary individuals who dedicated hard work and unwavering commitment that has made an immense impact on the recovery efforts in our region following Hurricane Helene. Today, we come together to recognize the heroes who were at the forefront of the cleanup, ensuring that our communities could rebuild and move forward. The devastation left by Hurricane Helene challenged us all. But thanks to these remarkable individuals, our resilience was strengthened, and the path to recovery has been made much smoother. These recipients of the Service Citation Award exemplify the very spirit of service and selflessness, working tirelessly to help those affected by the storm, restore order, and support recovery operations, both immediately and for the foreseeable future. We are proud to announce the following recipients. From the town of Damascus, we have Mayor Katie Lamb. Katie has worked tirelessly to meet the needs of the residents of the town that she loves so dearly. She was instrumental in the day of rescue efforts, and because of her, many people are alive today. Her own home and property were impacted by the damage Hurricane Helene caused, yet she postponed her personal recovery to prioritize the well-being of Damascus citizens. Katie continues to represent and advocate for Damascus in political meetings and beyond. Chris Bell, the Damascus town manager. Chris was hired to be the town manager only a few months before historic flooding hit Damascus. Chris was and continues to be instrumental in recovery efforts. During the days and weeks following Helene, he held daily meetings in the Damascus Town Park to update citizens on the status of relief efforts and resources. He continues to work hard to find ways to compensate for the impact of Helene and the loss of the Creeper Trail. Kermit Turner, the Damascus Police Chief and Volunteer Fire Department Chief. Kermit spearheaded the rescue efforts in the town of Damascus during the most dangerous moments of the flood. He worked with outside rescue crews to ensure the safety of all Damascus residents. As a result, no lives were lost. Julie Kroll, the Recreation Program Director. Julie went above and beyond during the days and weeks following the flooding in Damascus. She paused all her daily responsibilities to help meet the needs of town residents. Julie took charge of the Damascus Distribution Center by working closely with United Way, organizing donation collection and distribution, and volunteer management. Julie continues to be instrumental in helping the town get back on its feet by planning other recreation and tourism events, supporting business owners, and working toward restoring the Creeper Trail. For these reasons, Emory Henry University awards this service citation to Mayor Katie Lamb, Chris Bell, Kermit Turner, and Julie Kroll from the town of Damascus in recognition of your tireless efforts and unwavering dedication to the cleanup efforts following Hurricane Helene. With deepest appreciation, we acknowledge your selfless work in rebuilding and improving the lives of those impacted by the disaster. Given from the halls of Emory Henry University this March 20th, 2025, on the occasion of the 188th anniversary of the founding of the university, congratulations. Come on down. All right. Also from the town of Damascus, Carrie Guest. Immediately after the flood and since, Carrie has gone above and beyond to provide aid to Damascus. You could see him driving a tractor, carrying a shovel, and bringing meals to people days after Helene. Since then, Carrie is working to revitalize downtown Damascus by planning events and opportunities for current and new businesses to succeed. And he's doing all of this strictly as a volunteer. For these reasons, Emory Henry University awards this service citation to Carrie Guest in recognition of your tireless efforts and unwavering dedication to the cleanup efforts following Hurricane Helene. With deepest appreciation, we acknowledge your selfless work in rebuilding and improving the lives of those impacted by this disaster. Given from the halls of Emory Henry University, this March 20th, 2025, on the occasion of the 188th anniversary of the founding of the university, congratulations.
I have the distinct honor of recognizing some of my neighbors and friends from Smith County, Virginia, this morning. Brian Martin and Stephen Fields from the town of Chilhowie. Brian Martin, who is the Chilhowie town manager. In the days and weeks following Hurricane Helene, Brian served as a vital resource for infrastructure repairs and coordinating town efforts. Brian was a phenomenal partner with Emory Henry to connect our students and employees with opportunities to volunteer with relief and cleanup efforts after the floods. Unfortunately, Brian is unable to be here with us this morning, but Stephen Fields, my new friend and fishing buddy, is the Director of Parks and Recreation in the town of Chilhowie. Stephen Fields worked tirelessly to manage volunteers and provide support for the town following the flood. He worked with several Emory Henry groups, all of whom loved him very much, on volunteer days for flood cleanup and helped manage the emergency food and supply pantry held at the Chilhowie Public Library in the days following the flood. His love for the town and his hard and quiet work to help his neighbors in a time of need was inspiring. It should also be noted that Stephen is the great-great-great-great-grandson of Squire Henry. For these reasons, Emory Henry University awards this service citation to Brian Martin and Stephen Fields from the town of Chilhowie in recognition of your tireless efforts and unwavering dedication to the cleanup efforts following Hurricane Helene. With deepest appreciation, we acknowledge your selfless work in rebuilding and improving the lives of those affected by this disaster. Given from the halls of Emory Henry University this March 20th, 2025, on the occasion of the 188th anniversary of the founding of the university, congratulations. We're also excited to recognize a couple of members of the larger Smith County community in their instrumental efforts in the cleanup following Hurricane Helene. Sarah Gillespie, who's the Executive Director of the Smith County Chamber of Commerce, set up volunteer opportunities, and captured the needs of community members, and also worked to provide business recovery support for small businesses throughout Smith County. Sarah is also a 2005 Emory Henry graduate who was very highly engaged in service while a student here. Amanda Livingston, Director of Tourism for Smith County. In the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, Amanda played a pivotal role in organizing and managing the distribution center in Marion, an area that had largely been overlooked, as many were unaware of the amount of damage that the flooding had caused in other parts of Smith County. Working tirelessly, she continues to help those affected by the storm. And so for these reasons, Emory Henry University awards this service citation to Sarah Gillespie and Amanda Livingston from Smith County in recognition of your tireless efforts and unwavering dedication to the cleanup efforts following Hurricane Helene. With deepest appreciation, we acknowledge your selfless work in rebuilding and improving the lives of those affected by this disaster. Given from the halls of Emory Henry University this March 20th, 2025, on the occasion of the 188th anniversary of the founding of the university, congratulations. Sarah and Amanda. Kirk Lowe, Director of Project Crossroads. The mission of Project Crossroads is, quote, to serve the needs of God's children through home repair, new home construction, firewood delivery, emergency assistance, medical care, and an opportunity for faithful witness of Christ's presence through love in action. This is exactly what Kirk and his team did in the aftermath of Helene. They distributed emergency supplies that already had, rallied volunteers, including many Emory Henry students, to collect and organize new supplies, and continued to deliver to those in need with a special focus on communities that weren't receiving as much support as others. And so for these reasons, Emory Henry University awards this service citation to Kirk Lowe with Project Crossroads in recognition of your tireless efforts and unwavering dedication to the cleanup efforts following Hurricane Helene. With deepest appreciation, we acknowledge your selfless work in rebuilding and improving the lives of those affected by this disaster. Given from the halls of Emory Henry University this March 20th, 2025, on the occasion of the 188th anniversary of the founding of the university. Congratulations.
Good morning. I'm Laura Beth Weaver. I'm the president of the Emory Henry Alumni Council. And before I present the 2025 Distinguished Alumni Awards, I just want to echo what Dr. Fincher said earlier about how special this day is, that we get to reach into the past and honor those who came before us, that we get to celebrate and give thanks to the current stewards of this very special place, and that we get to look to the future with the students who have joined us this morning. I can't wait to see some of you walk across the stage in just a few short weeks. I'll be there cheering for you. Our first award today from the Alumni Council is the James A. Davis Faculty Award. Dave Jackson has been a pastor for the Emory Henry United Methodist Church for 17 years. It's really called the Emory United Methodist Church, but I can't say Emory without saying Ann Henry. Apologies. Dave has been pastor of this church longer than any other pastor, and that alone is worth an award. However, we are here to celebrate the fact that while doing that work, he has also been serving as an important member of the esteemed faculty here at Emory Henry. Teaching in the religion department, Dave is known as a teacher who is available for students beyond the confines of the classroom. He challenges students to grow and learn and be better humans, while also teaching them the lessons, the insight, and history offered by his curriculum. He is an advisor to young people seeking to discern their path in life. He has helped guide students in their decisions to further their education and build on their passion for theology. He offers leadership and support to students who are beginning to make their way in the world, and also counsels young alumni in seminary who return home to the campus and to Dave's office to seek additional advice and guidance. He welcomes students to the congregation that meets here in Memorial Chapel and often invites them to take leadership roles in the worship services. He is known for his creative approach, and former students will recall a first-year course aimed at instilling basic college research, writing, and presentation skills that was built around the Game of Thrones books. Final exams are coming, Jon Snow. He does not, and he does all these things while remaining very, very calm. In the letter of nomination written on his behalf, it was noted that during his 17 years in teaching and leading worship, he both lives out and instills in others the call of Emory Henry to always increase in excellence. Congratulations, Reverend David Jackson. Next, the Al Mitchell Young Alumnus Award. Lakin Brooks distinguished herself long before she ever left college. As Emory Henry's first Fulbright scholar, she set a standard for excellence before she turned 21. After Emory Henry, she headed to Poland, where she served as a Fulbright English teaching assistant in the English department at the University of Szczecin. And she was a scholar in residence for the nonprofit organization iGiant, Impact of Gender and Sex on Innovation and Novel Technologies. I need to hear more about that later. Okay. In fact, her graduate studies at the University of Florida are focused on the intersections between technology, art, and health. Hailing from Ashe County, North Carolina, she manages to weave Appalachian traditions into her studies as well, exploring traditional medicines, storytelling practices, and music as a means of healing and wellness. And in case you're wondering if anyone has been paying attention to her scholarly pursuits, please consider that her writing has been published in Forbes, CNN, BuzzFeed, Atlas Obscura, Salon, the National Trust for the Historic Preservation, and the Washington Post, just to name a few. She is an advocate for the LGBTQ community and for those with physical challenges. Her own struggles with tinnitus led to an article shared by CNN during the pandemic about the challenges of masks for those who rely on reading lips. She spent a summer as the accessibility assistant coordinator for the famous Folklife Festival in Washington, D.C. There, she created an updated accessibility map and helped facilitate assisted listening devices, closed captioning, ASL interpretation, and hybrid streaming across 7 stages and hundreds of vendors. She has recently stepped into the world of art education and outreach, working at the Harn Museum of Art in Florida, and now as the Director of Operations for the Ashe County Arts Council in West Jefferson. No surprise, her advocacy continues there as she helped implement efforts to give away art supplies to local artists who lost theirs during Helene. So much of Lakin's work is about finding fascinating intersections, and we are excited to see where the roads will take her next. Congratulations, Lakin Brooks. The Fred Self Distinctive Service to Emory Henry Award. George Whitley's service to his alma mater began in 1994 when he and a classmate, Donald Schrader, established a memorial scholarship fund to honor Claude R. Brank, their Theta Chi Epsilon fraternity brother who died from AIDS in 1992. Today, that endowment has a corpus of nearly $100,000. Over the years, George has served Emory Henry in a variety of roles. He has helped the philanthropy office by serving as class agent, raising money from classmates, seniors, that's a thing. He has worked on institutional strategic planning committees, McLaughlin Center for the Arts programming committees, and has assisted with 2 capital fund campaigns. He has served on the alumni board, and he recently just completed an 8-year term of service on the Board of Trustees. He also quietly goes above and beyond, behind the scenes. If you've ever been to a function where you've enjoyed a celebratory glass of wine in an E&H wine glass, you should know that George donated those glasses. In fact, it's very likely he donated the wine you were drinking, because as a passionate wine connoisseur, he wants Emory and Henry events to shine from every angle, and he doesn't really trust anyone else to make the wine selection. He routinely opens his home for social gatherings of alumni, donors, and volunteers. Each summer, he works with his friend, Scrapper Brody, to host a party that welcomes visitors from Costa Rica who are here to experience the United States for the very first time. He has supported new initiatives and old traditions. The truth is, we can't tell you everything George Whitley has done to support Emory and Henry because he is quiet about his devotion and never asks for attention for good deeds done. And Emory and Henry is humbled and grateful to be the beneficiary of his kindness. Congratulations, George Whitley. Our Distinguished Achievement Award. Beverly Clark's experience in higher education started in 1999 when he took a job as a teaching assistant and research fellow in the NC State Physics Department. He went on to work for 26 years in higher education, serving as a professor, researcher, and administrator. He recently began serving a 2-year term as the Higher Learning Commissioner Peer Reviewer. In 2024, he was selected to be in the 9th cohort of the Aspen Rising President's Fellowship, a year-long executive leadership experience that brings together a reform-minded group of aspiring community college presidents. He was also chosen to be a participant in the Executive Leadership Institute through the League for Innovation. He is a member of the National Society of Black Physicists and is, in fact, the first African-American physics major at Emory Henry. He is a member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity and has been awarded the Superior Service Award by the Chi Phi chapter of Omega Psi Phi for his service to the fraternity and Denver community. He is the founder and the CEO of CNC Consulting Solutions, LLC, providing services to higher education, public and private businesses, state and local entities, nonprofits, public and private organizations. He is currently working with Clemson University ecologists and industry partners to obtain National Science Foundation funding for a coastal observatory design project. For his dissertation work, he developed a novel characterization tool called split-tip scanning. I practiced this, Beverly, I promise. Let me try again. Split-tip scanning. I can't do that one. I did it at home. Do it real loud. That. I'm sorry I didn't take a physics class while I was here. It sounds very smart. And has also done research on the environmental impacts of microplastics. While at Danville Community College, he developed a National Science Foundation-funded nanotechnology technician program that includes program curriculum and a nanoscience lab. Beverly often gets attention for his brilliant mind, but it makes him stand out that his intellect is paired with a thoughtful heart. At every turn of his career, he has been an advocate for equity and has worked to expand educational access for all community members while never losing sight of his work as a scientist of the highest order. That's why it took the community only a nanosecond to select him for this honor. Congratulations, Dr. Beverly Clark. Our final award is the Carl and Ruth Looney Humanitarian Award. Hopefully there are fewer big words. In the 1960s, an Emory Henry biology professor announced to his class, "If you want to see some birds, be at the corner of Hillman tomorrow at 6 a.m. Believe it or not, students showed up at that hour, and Dr. Bob Jervis loaded up students in his van and took them birding. Bill Williams was on that excursion. He saw his first yellow warbler at the duck pond. His life and the world were forever changed. As a teacher and administrator in Williamsburg James City Schools, and as the education director at the Center for Conservation Biology at the College of William and Mary, his entire career has been devoted to inspiring the next generation of conservationists. He began volunteering with the Virginia Society of Ornithology in 1971. Founded in 1929, the VSO's first meetings were aimed at providing a community for people passionate about birding, but their goals quickly expanded into conservation. Under Bill's leadership, VSO has thrived, awarding grants for community birding projects, providing graduate and undergraduate scholarships to support research projects, compiling journals that share data from around the state, mentoring college-aged birders, and supporting programs aimed at saving declining species, like these beautiful American kestrels we have in the center of campus. Bill provided leadership for Virginia's second ever Breeding Bird Atlas, which is a compilation of information about which species of birds breed in Virginia. This field work, done by more than 1,000 volunteers over 4 years, will be available online, and it will be used by researchers and even land use planners in determining the impacts of development. Bill also works hard as a birder. He is one of a small number of international reviewers for the highly respected platform eBird. He monitors hawk migrations and shorebird nesting, and he makes countless educational presentations, speaking with adults, professionals, students, and ENH alumni. In fact, he's doing a lyceum tonight at 7:30 in McLaughlin Street. Hint, hint. Y'all could get 2 lyceums in one day. Bill Williams is too humble to tell you that his work has ostensibly laid the foundation for a stronger ecosystem and a healthier planet. But it has. And he is living proof that the big work of meaningful conservation can begin with one clear look at the tiniest of warblers. Congratulations, Bill Williams.
Let's give all of our award winners another round of applause. Emory and Henry is proud of each and every one of you. Now, as we leave this celebration of Emory and Henry and all of those who have supported this great institution since its founding, let us be reminded of the words of Reverend John Wesley, one of the founders of the Methodist movement. Do all the good you can, in all the ways you can, to all the souls you can, in every place you can, at all the times you can, and all the zeal you can, as long as ever you can. Go in peace. I now invite our concert choir to deliver our choral benediction, which will be followed by the recessional. Please remain in place for the recessional until the faculty marshal, all members of the platform party, honorees, and faculty have made their way out of the chapel. Thank you for joining us today.